You know, there may come a time in your life where you have to deal with hospice for a loved one. I've dealt with it with my mother-in-law and my parents, or my mother, many years ago. But it is a decision that at some point will have to be made, and you want to have someone with hospice that you can depend on. Well, today on the show, we're talking to Cassie Slayton, who is the clinical liaison for Singing River Health System and their Hospice of Light. How are you? It's a pleasure meeting you.
I'm doing well. Very nice to meet you.
Tell us about, if you would, about Hospice of Light and, what it's about.
Yes. So Hospice of Light has been around. We're celebrating our 25th year anniversary this year. We're owned by Singing River Health System, and we have had the same medical director since day one, same owners, and same name. So we're very proud of that.
So who do you serve, actually?
We serve the lower 6 counties of Mississippi, so we're in Perry.
Very large area.
Yes, it's pretty large to be, a smaller hospice. We're really proud of that, too. So we're in Perry and Greene County, Stone, George, Jackson, and Harrison County, the lower 6 counties of Mississippi.
Who is the care when it comes to picking a care team, I'm sure you're very meticulous about picking the right people, because this is something that's it's a very delicate situation for a family to have to deal with.
Absolutely.
Once they decide to have to go with hospice for someone, because that's basically like the end of life, so to speak. So whenever you're choosing someone, what are the things that you look for?
So our hospice team includes the RN, who sees the patient up to as many times as the patient needs. We actually go off of, each patient case every time. So we have the RN that comes and they evaluate the patient, the medications, and we have the RN, the chaplains, the social workers. You have to have an LMSW in hospice care. The aides, they come and bathe the patients and help them to still feel good about themselves, giving dignity and just a little bit of self-worth for the patient.
This is a very, again, as I mentioned, a time in someone's life or in a loved one's life where they don't have a whole lot of time left. And the job of your people are to make them as comfortable as possible.
Yes.
And everything that they do, I don't want to say babysitter. They become like a companion of sorts, because they come in, take care of, as you said, bathe them, feed them. My mother-in-law was right across the street here at Ocean Springs Nursing Home, and she decided when it was time for that. How do you determine when it is time for someone to deal with hospice?
So in order to be on hospice care, you have to have a diagnosis of a terminal illness with a life expectancy of 6 months or less. And that typically comes from a referral from a physician, the primary care physician, or the specialist. And so once we get that referral, we evaluate them, and if they meet our criteria, then we'll admit them. And so that's when we have our care team go out, and each care team, each plan of care is completely catered to that patient.
So it's not a cookie-cutter type thing?
No, not at all.
Everybody is different.
Yes, and one of the very neat things about us being smaller and owned by Singing River Health System is that we're able to provide different medications that other hospices may not be able to. We're able to take, each patient truly by each case.
What makes your care number one? I mean, Singing River Health System, I'll be honest with you, Cassie, I've done a lot of programs with the Singing River Health System. They've gone through a lot of changes over the past couple of years that I have seen. And it is just, by far, to me, top-notch. I mean, and the surgeons that I have met, the different physicians that I met, the different services that they provide, and the different types of, top-of-the-line, state-of-the-art surgeries. So what makes the hospice part of it? Number one, yeah.
I think that, like all of the sections you just mentioned, we're all connected. So we can communicate. We know everyone. We can keep in touch with the patients that we did get the referrals from. So we're still in one system. Even though we are hospice care and we're, coming in the later stages of life, we're still connected. And so we can still make that contact to the oncologist and to the cardiologist or the neurologist, to update them, or the pulmonologist on their care. And that makes the patients really comfortable to know that they can still have that contact with their physicians.
So they have that connection going all the way around, and as you said, everyone stays in the loop,
Yeah,
so to
absolutely.
speak. So,
Yes,
you
sir.
let the doctors know this is what's going on with them. The doctors can let you know if they need to change medications or they're changing medications, and so your team doesn't go in and it's a big surprise.
Right, absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this: what if somebody wants to volunteer? Because
Volunteer
I'm
services.
sure you're volunteer. You've got a great volunteer services. People who are wanting to come out and help.
Absolutely.
Because either they've been through that, they've dealt with that with a loved one, or do they have to have a nursing background or
Not
what?
at all. So that's one of the things I missed on our care team is that we have our volunteers, which actually keeps us running. So we just fill out an application. We do a background check, of course, and they go through extensive trainings. But we actually just launched a We Honor Veterans. We're We Honor Veterans partners, and so we have a veteran-to-veteran volunteer program too, which we're
Awesome.
really proud of. And you don't have to be a vet to volunteer for that. You just have a little more training on how to deal with vets with their end-of-life issues. So we have our regular volunteer
Civilians.
program. Yes,
Civilian
our civilians
volunteer.
and then our veteran. So
And there's a lot of veterans down here because there's a lot of them that they do come down here to retire.
yeah, absolutely. And also with the Armed Forces Retirement Home. So, but basically what a volunteer can do, they can do anything from in the office work, helping us make, birthday goodies for the patients, or they can actually go to the homes and sit with the patients and provide companionship and give the primary caregiver a break, if they want to go grocery shopping.
It could be a simple task, actually go grocery shopping.
Yeah, get
Read
their hair
to them.
done. Absolutely.
They'll read to them, take them to get their hair done, or just, they become a true companion. And
Yes.
that's what having a great companion here, the twilight time of their life.
Yes, and they know that you're there. Once a patient or once anyone reaches that time in life, they know that they have someone there with them.
How do they sign up?
How do they sign up for hospice?
Well, how do they sign up to volunteer?
So to volunteer, you can call our office. That's 818-2160, and we can get you a packet. And so it's by paper. And then, like I said, you have to go through the background checks and everything like that. But
Now,
it's pretty easy.
And as far as someone who wants to get information about the hospice that you provide, same thing, call that number, set up an appointment, come out to do an evaluation?
Yes, so we do informational visits, which is wonderful. I love to advertise that. We're not really pushed on numbers, or we don't have to meet certain quotas, so it really is patient by patient.
Okay. Well, Cassie, so
Very nice.
much of a pleasure to meet you. If you'd like some more information of the wonderful services that Hospice by
Of Life.
Hospice of Life,
Hospice of Life.
offers you through Singing River Health System, the number's on your screen. Give them a call.
Thank you.